Welcome to Ask For It, powered by High Performa, the show dedicated to helping sales professionals unlock their full potential and consistently outperform the competition. Have you ever wondered why some salespeople just seem to crush it every time, while others struggle to close even the easiest leads? Well, it's all about mindset. And today we're going to break down exactly what separates the best from the rest. I'm Ami Trivedi, the founder of High Performa and a former Salesforce professional services seller. In today's episode, we're going to dive into the mindset of high performers in sales. We're going to talk about how they think, what sets them apart, and how you can start applying these principles to level up your sales career. By the end of this episode, you'll know the exact strategies and mindset shifts you need to adopt if you want to close more deals and build stronger relationships with your clients. We'll talk about the 3 key mindset shifts that top performers make and how you can start implementing them today. Before I get into that, I want to start off by telling you a story about a past colleague of mine. For the sake of this podcast, we're going to call him Jason. Jason was an older individual with years of selling and consulting experience. He was given a new territory that consisted of a lot of large tech companies that were founded by young tech guys, and the culture of those companies still really embodied the new wave of tech. So I'm sure in your head you can put together a few names. Jason was extremely unsuccessful in this territory, and to his frustration, he really just didn't understand why. These companies had a historically large spend with us, but he couldn't even get past initial discovery calls. And unfortunately, his job was at risk. I jumped in to support him in the territory and take on some of the deals. And I was able to get past the discovery calls, build key relationships, and even close a few deals. Unfortunately, Jason wasn't able to pick up on the difference versus how I sold versus how he did. And sadly, he was let go. However, I was able to very clearly see why Jason was struggling in this territory, and it was because of his mindset. He came from traditional sales. All right, and now I know everyone's thinking traditional sales, like you think Brian Tracy, and I love him, seriously, and I swear by his book, Psychology of Selling, and I do recommend it to all my listeners today. But the problem here is that Jason wasn't able to take those principles and adapt it to the way we need to sell today. And those early day beliefs, like just to recap, is to show up strong, confident, have a firm handshake, and that's really going to get you one step into the door. And that can still work. But the key thing here is it depends on who is on the other side of your sale. If you have someone who's more traditional, no nonsense, then yes, please apply all of those techniques. However, when you're selling to people whose founder and CEO dropped out of Harvard or Stanford, challenged the status quo, and built a multi-million-dollar empire, then you need to change your approach and become more relatable to that person. So this shift in how you approach new territories with new buyer motivations isn't a new concept, and it's not only used exclusively for sales, but it's really important to understand. I'm not sure if any of you picked up on what I'm talking about yet, but it's called the growth mindset. So this was coined back in the 1970s by Dr. Carol Dweck, and she wrote the book Mindset, The New Psychology for Success. This is another book that I'll recommend as well. And the main idea of this is that you can't approach life and scenarios with a fixed mindset. You need to understand that the world and selling landscape is changing, and with that, you also need to grow and change as well. So one actionable tip here that you can take is that before meeting with a potential customer, understand the company that they work for, the values it embodies, and do some research on who you're meeting with. But there's a huge but here. Don't take this as your only info, as you need to gather info on the person as soon as you enter the call, and then you need to shift yourself to appeal to them. You essentially need to adopt a growth mindset and go in with that. So, for example, when Jason went on the call, he kept his traditional no-nonsense sales approach. Our buyer didn't warm up to it. When I jumped on the call, I could tell the buyer's passionate about the product he works on. He's younger in the industry and extremely sharp. And with that, I went in with my background knowledge on the company culture. And after a little bit of small talk, I knew I needed to be clear and open with him, as he really valued honesty and authenticity. He didn't want to feel like he's being sold at. He wanted to feel like we were partners in making his product something bigger and better. And that works. This segues into tip number 2. High performers don't fear rejection or failure. They view it as a learning experience and then adjust their approach. So here, I'll stop throwing Jason under the bus for this one and turn it to myself. So I was selling a solution to a client, and this proposal actually required a few weeks of scoping calls, in which the client also had to invest a lot of time. And then we finally got to the proposal presentation, and he brings in his leader who will be our ultimate decision maker. So my champion and I became very close during the scoping process, as it did last across 2 months. And we were able to build a relationship where the walls came down and we were more comfortable with each other. So I went into the proposal presentation with that same feeling of familiarity with his manager, hoping I can still bridge that connection. And this did not work. As the proposal was going on, I was trying to engage him, ask questions, and be collaborative, similarly to the style I was doing with my champion. He looked at me like I was wasting his time. He wanted to be sold at. He wanted me to present my pitch and then wait for him to give his feedback versus including him during the pitch itself, if that makes sense. I made it pretty far into the pitch, and then I realized I was losing his attention. I needed to speed it up and get to the point. He honestly mostly just cared what the final cost was, because his coworker, my champion, did all the research. He worked with me. He understands what we're selling. So he just needs to know what the dollars are and when he's going to sign. And you must be wondering, did I pivot? Did I take in that growth mindset to save the deal in the end? And unfortunately, no, I didn't win the deal. It didn't happen in the dramatic way where the client storms out, but I wasn't able to build enough trust to make this proposal priority to him and get him to sign immediately. One silver lining, though, was the deal did end up getting signed, but months later, to the point where we closed the deal cycle and then we had to reopen it later as well. So the mindset shift here is to not let failure and rejection get to you. View it positively and see it as a learning experience. Did I feel bad that they didn't sign right away? Honestly, a little. But I sat down with myself and took the time to reflect on the sales cycle, and I started to pinpoint areas where I could improve. And in this case, it's also helpful to talk to a mentor or someone you can trust to help you understand where you went wrong. I have a few mentors I tap into when a sales cycle goes south, and we analyze it together. It's very helpful, and you can only just keep getting better from every experience. So now, the third final mindset shift I'm going to share today is that top performers use visualization and goal setting. I understand the rush and speed at which we sellers have to perform at. The pressure is so high because we don't have the time to sit down and set goals for ourselves. But this one thing is really what you can do to set yourself apart. I know manifesting has become a huge buzzword, but I do stand by it. And that's why I always tell folks I coach for to just ask for it. Ask for what you want and you'll get it. In my entire career as a seller, I have never not hit my quota. And trust me, I've had a few close calls and some Hail Marys at the last moment, but in the end, I've always went over my quota. And let me teach you how I do that. It's a very, very easy way to do this. So let's do an activity together. So if you're listening to this while walking or running, take a note to do it when you get home. All right, so grab a sticky note, and I mean like a physical sticky note. It does matter. And get a pen and write down your quota for the year. The entire quota, even if you're already halfway through it. Now take that sticky note and stick it on your wall or at the edge of your laptop and look at it every single day. Look at it as you log into work and go into client calls. If you're meeting folks in person, then look at it before you walk into the room. Obviously, you don't want your client to see the sticky note with the quota on it. Now, step 2. Go onto your laptop and open the sticky note app. On this one, again, write your entire quota, but underneath that, write what percent to quota you are and how much you've closed. So, for example, if my quota is 10 million and I am 20% of the way there, I would write 10 million, then underneath that, 20% to quota, and in brackets, 2 million closed. Now, When you're on your laptop and see your desktop, this is what you will see every day. And each time you close a deal, go back into that sticky note and adjust the percent to quota and how much you close. Trust me, it's simple, but it's so motivating to see that number get larger each day. All right, now to recap, the 3 mindset shifts to really become a high performer in sales is to 1, adopt a growth mindset. Go into each sale ready to adapt yourself to make the sale happen. Do your research, read the room, and keep an open mind. 2, take rejection and failure as a learning. Analyze what went wrong in the sales cycle and see where you could have improved. Talk to a mentor and work through it together if that's more helpful. And number 3, manifest it, or in my terms, ask for it. Write down your quota physically and on your laptop. Look at it every single day. In essence, you're really just asking yourself to hit that number, and you will. All right, well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you got some actionable insights to help level up your sales game. If you found this valuable, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you're looking to take your sales performance even further, please check out High Performa for coaching and training. And thank you again for tuning in. Now go apply what you've learned and keep pushing for that next level. And don't forget to ask for it. See you next time. If you found this episode valuable, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review so more sellers like you can discover the show. And if you're serious about taking your sales game to the next level, check out thehighperforma.com for training and coaching designed to help you win more deals and future-proof your success. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep pushing, keep improving, and keep closing. And don't forget to ask for it.